So Vince, got my eggnog here, and I just noticed something. It says use through December 11th. It's like December 16th today. Should I be able to drink this still?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's kind of outdated. I don't know if, I guess outdated eggnog is still better than no eggnog.
Well, mine's pretty fresh because I had to go get some new eggnog. Got me some Southern Comfort vanilla spice eggnog.
I got me Schnucks brand. Now, I don't see anything green in it, so I guess it's okay. I mean, does eggnog turn green? Do you know?
I don't know. Mine's pretty good. What about yours? Go ahead and try it.
Tastes like eggnog. Well, hopefully, it's not outdated enough to make me sick.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm going to get right into this review, Vince, because, you know, I'm going to say right up front, oh my freaking God. Oh my God, this was outstanding. Outstanding. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I want from this show, and it gave it to me 100 freaking %.
The Force is strong in this one.
The Mandalorian, Chapter 6.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Oh my God.
Yeah, The Mandalorian, Chapter 6 on Disney Plus. Because we didn't even say yet what we were reviewing, and that's it.
I mean, come on, Vince. I mean, come on. You cannot get any better than this. I was starting to doubt the show. I'm not gonna joke. I'm not gonna say, you know, hey, this is a great show. I was getting my doubts about the show, but then this episode, this is it. I mean, this is what I want from the show from the very beginning, and boom, here it is. Boom.
Boom. I 100% agree. This episode was freaking fantastic, and especially after the lame episode that we had just last week on Friday.
Like I said, I was starting to get worried about the show. I really was. I was like, oh my God, you know, I've been looking forward to this show so much, and we had an okay episode, then we had a really bad episode, and I figured, man, this episode better bring it. And not only did it bring it, it really brought it. I mean, it just freaking brought it.
This episode, The Mandalorian, still... and this is one thing I was wondering, especially through the beginning of this episode, was what the hell happened to Baby Yoda? You know, where was he? You know, because the last episode he was leaving. He left Tatooine, and this episode he ends up going to this old. I guess he used to be a bounty hunter at one time, or something like that. Or he worked with this team at one point, and now this guy was putting together a new team, and he brought back at least one of the people that he knew, and she was freaking fantastic. That character, I don't know her name on the one with the horns, the one that looked like the Jabba the Hutt's dancer.
It was really cool that she was in an episode, and she was okay. Well, basically, one of the things I want to say right off here is I think it's awesome that being that Mando is a bounty hunter and he's doing bounty hunter things on the show. Now, you could say this is another Bridget episode, but it isn't really, because I mean, it doesn't really have. It sort of moves the plot forward, and but you know, you're seeing him do bounty hunter stuff because he's there for the money. He needs money. He's a bounty hunter. That's what he does, and that's what he was doing with the job. He's basically got this job to make some extra cash.
Well, basically, he's done that for 3 episodes now. That's that's pretty much what he's doing. Is he's done that for just 3 episodes, because the chapter, what was it, chapter 4, he went to the one planet and he was going to leave Baby Yoda off there, and then he met Gina Carano's character he met Cara Dune there, and I guess he got paid for it, but then
I don't think he did. That was the thing with that. He didn't really get paid for it. He was just there helping out, whatever. I don't think they paid him because, I mean, they were villagers. They didn't have money. And the next episode, he kind of got paid, I guess. I don't know if he got paid. He was just helping out another bounty hunter. He really wasn't kind of there for himself. Now he's just, in this episode, he's there for himself, making money for himself.
Yeah. Well, he gave the money to the person that the whole episode was watching Baby Yoda, so, and fixing his ship. So then he takes off and he comes to this spaceship and gets in with his team, and he's supposed to get paid, and he finally gets paid and actually gets able to leave with some money.
I want to talk about the crew here. First of all, you kind of get to see an android for the first time. I mean, he's sort of a major character here, and he sort of looked like the insect android that was in Empire a little bit.
I think they changed his name because at one point they not this character's, but I mean the character that you're talking about in Empire Strikes Back was originally like Zuskus or something like that, and they changed him to 4LOM.
Yeah, for Lam or whatever it was.
Yeah, so that's what this character is sort of like, is that character, that robot character.
Yeah, he's a really cool, interesting character. I mean, he was a cool robot. He's a really, really interesting character there. And then in the original Star Wars, which I always thought was fascinating, they showed, like for a split second, this guy in the canteen. He's like, whoa, ha, 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 and he had like devil horns. He looked like the freaking devil himself. And whatever that race was one of these guys too.
Yeah, yeah. And what was really cool with this episode is that having all these characters there, and it made this like mystery, because you kind of felt like, okay, these guys are definitely not on the up and up with him, because you know anything can happen, and it did. You know, pretty, you know. They're gonna double cross him somehow, and that's basically what a lot of it ended up doing, was they were trying to double cross him throughout the episode. You just didn't know how or when.
And there were so many oh my god moments in this episode because it was so well filmed, and I think Mando looked great in this episode. Just the way they filmed him and filmed his armor. And just the way he was moving in the episode, and the way he was looking at it, just, I don't know, everything about his character in this episode worked. And he looked great in this episode.
Yeah, he did. He looked fantastic. And it was really cool how they get into this ship, and they run into what's now a New Republic a commando, and he kind of looks like the rebel. You know, the rebel commandos from the original Star Wars, and I love that whole standoff that they did with him. It was amazing. I was like, this is really cool how they did all that.
I love just the way they used the lights in the episode, and the blinking lights, and the colors, and the reds and the whites, and just everything about this episode was awesome. I mean, it was great from the time it started until that fantastic, freaking awesome, spectacular ending that they had here. This was the episode. I mean, it's episode 6. We only got a couple more here, but so far this was the episode at the top. I mean, this was it.
And of course, they had a cameo in here by Dave Filoni, who is not only the co-writer of this series, but he's also co-producer and I believe he's directed, or he might have been directing some of these episodes, along with Jon Favreau, who's been writing and directing a lot of the episodes and producing a lot of the episodes. So these guys, from the very beginning, they were the ones that got together and actually made this series. And you know, I have to say this. I mean, after seeing them put together this great series, and Dave Filoni actually comes to this series from after working on Clone Wars and Rebels. So it's like, you know, he definitely is a Star Wars person. He knows the ins and outs of Star Wars. He's worked with George Lucas and everything, so he knows the ins and outs. And Jon Favreau is sort of like J.J. Abrams in the fact that he's just an ultimate Star Wars fan. So having these two guys work together and make this series is just phenomenal. They're doing just a phenomenal job, and I hope there's going to be more Star Wars stuff for these guys in the future. You know, not just this series, but I hope they get to do maybe movies together or something. Something with Star Wars going on.
And they had a pretty awesome role for Baby Yoda in this episode too. It was really funny. The stuff that was going on with him in this episode, it was just great. And I mean, this episode had everything. It had suspense, it had comedy, it had a little bit of scary stuff in it. I mean, I don't want to give it too much away. And it had action, and it had everything. It had every single thing in this episode.
Which is what you're expecting from a Star Wars anything. Star Wars series, Star Wars movie. That's what you're expecting to get, and this episode definitely had that.
So overall, this episode gets the absolute bomb from me.
Yes, after that lame. Well, I liked the episode, but it was just lame, and that lame episode from last week, chapter 5, was just. Especially going to Tatooine and everything, you thought it was going to be a lot better than that, but it didn't. It just came out rather lame. So except for maybe the last 3 seconds in that episode, which they didn't answer in this chapter, which I'm sure at some point they're going to answer to it in the last 2 chapters that we're coming up on. So, but this chapter, after seeing that chapter, and just this chapter alone, is just the bomb! It was fantastic.
This episode has just restored my faith in the show. It has restored just how awesome the show can be and is for the most part. And, you know, we only have, 2 more episodes to go? So I hope both of those episodes just floor me.
And speaking of episode 7, or chapter 7, it's actually coming on early this week. It's actually coming out on Wednesday instead of Friday because of course, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is coming out on Friday. So they didn't want, people to be going to see the movie and then missing their favorite, Star Wars episodes. So they're actually trying to get you to watch The Mandalorian before you actually even go out to go see Star Wars. And whether or not that actually has anything to do with the next Star Wars film, who knows? But, it's there, so we get to watch that before we get to go to the movie itself. So stay tuned for Chapter 7, and stay tuned for, of course, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, which is coming out, like I said, on Friday, my birthday. So, can't wait.
Yeah, I'm still more excited about The Mandalorian than I am the movie. But hopefully I'll get excited about the movie once I see it.
I'm sure you'll be excited once you see it. So, you guys can get excited now by subscribing to us and clicking the like button and clicking the bell and clicking all that stuff that we always tell you to do at the end of these things. So do all that for us. Leave us some comments, leave us some feedback. We love to answer you guys' questions or comments and whatnot. So leave that down there. And we'll be back with Merry Maniacs with another chapter in the Mandalorian series, as well as Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker.